Discuss how to ensure transparency and manage conflict of interests. Transparency is ensured through disclosure. Section 3, paragraph B of the General Code of Conduct requires that the provider disclose any personal interest in the service rendered or any circumstance which gives rise to a potential conflict of interest in relation to such service. We could also add the disclosure requirement relating to the FSP holding more than 10% share in any product supplier or receiving more than 30% remuneration from any one product supplier, which we discussed in Outcome 28. The aim is to ensure that the client is treated fairly. In order to manage any potential conflict of interest, Board Notice 58 of 2010 adds to Section 3 and prescribes a formal conflict of interest management policy for each provider. A summary of the important points are as follows. A provider may only offer, and representatives only receive, commission and/or fees as prescribed in the relevant legislation. For example, if a representative provides advice on short-term insurance, he or she may only receive commission or fees as prescribed in the Short-Term Insurance Act. A fee-based advice model is still acceptable where fees are paid by clients and no commission is received from the product supplier, provided the client agrees in writing and is able to stop paying such fees at his or her discretion. A provider may not offer any financial interest to a representative for giving preference to the quantity of business secured, giving preference to a specific product provider where applicable, and/or giving preference to a specific product where a representative may recommend more than one product. Consider the following example. John manages and oversees the activities of Excel Financial Services, which currently has 10 registered representatives. Excel only offers financial products from XYZ Life. John would like to start a campaign where Excel will focus on retirement planning. The representative who sells the largest number of retirement annuities will receive a paid-for weekend holiday. John is of the opinion that this does not represent a conflict of interest because Excel can only offer retirement annuities from one product provider. What do you think? John is partly correct, as there is no conflict of interest in terms of incentivizing representatives to make use of a particular product provider. There is certainly a conflict in terms of a production-based incentive, which may lead representatives to recommend only one product, retirement annuities, to win the prize. This campaign would therefore not be permitted. Let's finish off this section by examining a summary of the requirements in terms of the conflict of interest management policy. The amendment states that every provider, representatives are excluded, must adopt, maintain, and implement a conflict of interest management policy, which must include mechanisms and measures for the identification, avoidance, and disclosure of conflicts of interest, procedures and internal controls to facilitate compliance with this policy, set consequences of non-compliance by employees and representatives, specify the basis on which a representative is remunerated, qualifies for a financial interest, and ensure no conflict of interest is present. Names of a third party the provider has an ownership interest in, as well as any third-party interest in the provider. Ensure employees and representatives are aware of the policy and also receive adequate training. Providers must continually monitor compliance and review the policy annually. A provider must publish the policy and ensure it is easily accessible for inspection.